Okay, video 2, the walls. Now, if you've watched video 1, you've already have laid out your overall dimensions. You've made the first rectangle. You've dimensioned that. As you can see, my dimensions here. You should have this already. And you've made the plinth. You extruded the plinth up to about 0.5. Next, we're going to look at the walls. Okay, like I said before, it's very important to keep your 2D drawing always handy, because now we want to make these walls, and we're going to, in the room layouts, we're going to use these dimensions right here. So the first thing we're going to do is making this outside wall all the way around the house. So we're going to, I like to use my camera view and top view in order to do this. Okay, so if you don't like these dimensions laid out, you can always take your eraser and just hold it down and drag it across it, and you'll find out it erases everything you need. Also, these other lines, these are just guidelines from our tape measure, and if you don't like those, then sometimes you get all cluttered up, so you can erase that. So be free to use your eraser. Alright, so here is our floor surface. Just like you're using a pencil and paper, a lot of things are very similar. We're going to lay out our walls, the outside walls first. Now there's several ways to do that. Number one, we could use our zoom tool here and expand it out, and we can literally take a tape measure and we can measure out the walls. Now as you see, that dimension is 0.5. What we want there is 0.25, and then snap it in place, and we have the measurements. Or we can do another system measurement, and this is kind of quicker, which I'll show you. It's the offset. We use this in another video. Some of you have already practiced this, so you'll know what this is. Offset tool, click it down, and then wait till it hits the surface you see on the edge. You hold your left mouse down, and you drag it out a little bit, and you can see before you touch anything, you see again it's 0.54 in the distance or dimensions in the lower right hand corner. You'll type in 0.25, and really what that does is follow the exterior line all around it with parallel lines. And so you have your overall wall layout, as you can see there. Alright, so you've got that layout. Now what we want to do is to look at our drawing again, and we're going to start now figuring out the dimensions of the interior rooms. What we're going to use first dimension is this master bedroom, and I see this wall in the middle here, and so we're going to take that measurement. Again, this is where your dimensions come in very handy, because you know the distance, and this is what a builder would need to know. So I see 4 meters there, and notice that wall goes all the way through the middle. So then I'm going to go back to my drawing. I'm going to pull out my tape measure. Again, click on the outside line, see on the edge, hold your left mouse button down and drag across and snap in place, and you can see this line here. Sometimes you'll have a little problem seeing the whole line, and then click on 4, comma, and it'll snap to your place. And from there I'll drag it across again, snap in place, and type in 0.25. This line should be all the way through. Okay, and then you can take your pencil and you can literally click there, drag it down, and click on the other side. You can see that. Click down there, and you can click on the other side, and there you have your basic center wall layout. And that's the way they would actually build this. They would take, and you will build your actual scale model that way. You take one piece of wood there. So I'm going to give you 2 different illustrations, one for drawing and the other one how we would build it. So there we have the center wall, and now we want to, let's do the plinth right there. So we come up 2 meters up, and you see that line here, it meets this center wall here from our master bedroom. So if you want to get out of any of the tools, just press escape. Okay, so we use a tape measure here on the outside edge, click down, drag it up, and snap into place. Now notice this line here, for whatever reason it's not showing on the surface. I'm not sure what that reason is. 0.25, and we'll have to get this worked on. I'll probably have to, there it is, a little different angle. There we go, just a little different angle. Now I can see the lines, which I need to draw on. Okay, so this line I'm going to just literally start on the edge right there. I'm going to drag it across there, and this is the inside part of the wall, and if you can see that. And then I can take my eraser and I can erase these lines that I don't need anymore. Okay, and I don't want to get you confused because there is no, this wall stops here, so I don't want to confuse you with those extra lines. Now next we're going to take this bedroom right here, and I notice on this floor plan dimension it's 2.5. So once again, get your tape measure out, click on the outside edge, drag it to anywhere in the middle, and then just put, what did I say, 2.5, 2.5, or whatever your dimension is. Snap it in place, and then I'll make the other side of the wall, drag it out, 0.25, that's the wall thickness, and then take my pencil and draw that across like this. Alright, and then click down, draw it across, click it again on the other side, and there you have your overall layout of your walls. The last thing we want to do is extrude it. Now again, if I was to build this, oops, I'll take an eraser here and I'll eliminate these extra lines, and this is basically your layout here. Now I wanted to show you here, just to give you an understanding of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. See this line here? That is not a wall, it's a railing. So I'm going to stop this, I'm going to draw an extended line here, and I'm going to draw extended line there. So this part of the house here, that these lines, they're going to be different measurements and different thicknesses, and it's not going to go all the way to the top. And that's why I'm going to use this pencil line right there. Okay, so now if I was to extrude this and I was actually to build this, I would probably, in other words, take some wood. I would show you, just to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to just draw this here. Let's escape. There. I'm going to have to sometimes to be able to get a better angle, you got to navigate. And I'm going to just draw this here. So what you've got, if I was to build this, I've got a wall here, a wall here, this wall here, this long wall here, and this wall here. So if I was to extrude that one by one, I would take this push-pull tool here, I would start dragging that up, and I'd put 0.25, and that, excuse me, I have to Control Z, that's 2.5. 2.5. Will this work? Nope. I got to start again, drag it up. The wall height is 2.5. And you see that would be actually one length of the wall right there. I'd start on this side, I'd pull this up, 2.5. And if I was building this in the model, as you can, when we'll eventually get to the workshop, we can see this is one of the pieces that I will actually be making out of wood. And you can see that would be a different piece that you'd have to cut. So this is kind of the way we would do it. And then come up again, this end wall, 2.5, and you can see I'm extruding wall by wall. Coming up, this would be a different piece of wood, 2.5. Alright, and then we'll come up with this one, another piece of wood here. Notice the difference, the lengths. Okay, and then this center one will come up 2.5, and there we have our one more, come up 2.5, that's 2.5, enter, and basically we have, what I like about this idea is we have our pieces, the walls kind of separate. We could have done it all in one, but now we can see when we get ready to actually cut the pieces. Another thing we'll do in ending this is we'll draw our plinth line, because our plinth will actually be different than our walls. And I can just draw that line across here, and we'll draw another line. Notice that I don't need necessarily, as long as I'm going parallel, you see the green line or the red line, you know I'm going straight along here. If you want to use a shortcut, which I like to use a lot of time, and I use a line as L and drag that across, notice that that one is parallel with this one, is what it's doing. Orbit O, or navigate it around, and you can see right there I've got my overall wall layout. And we'll do the actual railing, we'll do the windows and the doors, but if I wanted to measure the pieces, it's easy to measure and to cut, so you'll know that later. And all I need to do is get my dimensions. So the height of this would be 2.5, and this wall right here would be, oops, that should have been 5, but that's okay. And you can see we can then cut that piece of wood and we can draw that or build that on the line. But there you go, is your overall layout of all your walls. And we'll be ready for video number 3 shortly.